Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we'll be talking about the newest Gearbox hotfix that they released on Thursday, March 12th, 2020. So, Gearbox has been killing it lately with the weapon buffs, and this patch is no exception. They actually did a lot of buffs this time around, instead of just one singular buff. Now, I do have the exact numbers of most of these buffs, so I'll be mentioning them and talking about them while this video is playing, I guess. So these numbers are rough estimates, at least my translations of them, but I'll also be displaying what they are in actual in-game code. But what I mean by in-game code is, you know, when in the UCP, when I had to modify something, you know, there was just a base multiplier, and I would just replace that multiplier with something else. But in game, it would translate like in a different kind of way. These numbers are the same, if you can understand them. I tried to translate them the best I can, but anyways, moving on to the numbers. The Hellfire has received a 40% damage buff and 125% buff to its damage over time. The Sawbar damage got an 80% buff from its base damage, and the timing was slowed down by 1 second. So basically the projectile is just not as fast as it used to be. The Link's damage got buffed by 95%. The skills, skill, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Oh jeez, I'm sorry about that. My phone got a 275% damage buff. I think that's the biggest damage buff it has in the recent hotfix. Sorry, numbers are hard. Nemesis got a 60% damage buff. The Boomer got a 25% damage buff. The Hyper Focus got an 80% buff. The Garcia got his fire rate increased by 1.3, and now it has 3 more projectiles. Nimblejack got a 45% damage buff. One Pump Chump got a 20% buff, but I think that's in terms of what the gun is. It actually got rather, I want to say 200% almost. In terms of actual gun damage, but in terms of what the gun is, it translates to 20%. The Ogre got a 38% buff. The Thorn got a 53.3% buff. Tanksman, I'm pretty sure that they actually mentioned it in the patch notes, but the max bonus damage went from 3 to 6, and the damage per stack went up by 20% more. From 0.4 to 0.6. So that should cover the hotfixes, the numbers at least for the March 12th. And I'll try to do this every single week, or actually mention the numbers and what goes into these. I'll be displaying most of them on screen, just so if you don't have sound, at least you'll be able to at least see the numbers on the screen. Pretty good patch so far. This is one of the better ones, especially because they didn't, pull a Krakatoa where, I have one right here, where they just buff the number, out of control. Instead, they're just trying to balance out the numbers across the board on multiple guns. That way, power creep kind of doesn't happen. And I'm hoping that they can actually just buff all the legendaries, honestly, at any given time. Obviously, we have to test these out. Obviously, the Hellfire is definitely back on the menu. Garcia is probably also back in the menu. The Sickle probably got the biggest buff, honestly, out of the most. I think I have one right here. I don't think I mentioned it. But I think it has to do with a specific accessory of the Sickle. I'm pretty sure I've seen examples, I might provide them on the screen, where the Sickle actually does 2,000 damage multiplied by 10. It's actually more than Krakatoa, if you multiply that much by that much. Anyways, I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll see you guys next video. Thank you for watching.